didn't go on Saturday. 'Cause I thought Sunday was worse. We're like, should I? No, it's relative. Yeah.
All right, excellent. Let's get things kicked off here then. Call this meeting to order here. It's just after 10 o'clock Mountain. And quick roll call here. Let's see, John is here via Zoom. And then this is Ty Mack. I'm here via Zoom. Who else do we have there in the office? We've got Sven, Christie, Claire, Jansen.
Yeah.
And Dirk Tyler is here as well.
Okay,
Morning.
excellent. Good morning, Dirk.
Looks like we have someone else on Zoom as well.
Mike Hunt.
Here's my fortunate name, but I have a friend who's had that same name. Interestingly.
Huh.
All right, that's roll call. I guess the second order of business is to adopt the agenda. Did everyone have a chance to look at the agenda? Any want to have any additions, subtractions? All right, do we have any motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll move to adopt the agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, excellent. Okay, first, I'm used to having my giant two monitor situation here and I'm working on a laptop, but okay, here we go. So yeah, I mean the big goal here I think is to discuss the survey results and then come out of here with sort of marching orders on next steps. We're as we all know, we're operating on a tight timeline here. We have just a few days under a month to complete the work of this committee. So I guess any initial reactions, Jansen, thanks for putting together that summary. Did we have any, maybe you start with some initial reactions. Did anyone have any reaction to the results or anyone surprised or have any takeaways that they'd like to throw out that didn't make in the summary?
Well, Christie submitted a more comprehensive summary. Did everyone receive
Yeah, I
that?
think that's the one I'm
Is that-
working off of.
Is that what it's looking at?
Yeah.
So Ty, I sent that out early this morning, and there's you should all have a link to that document, and it's a Google Doc, and there's a couple tabs. There's all of the actual charts that Google Forms creates as to show the survey results, and that's all the quantitative data. And then the qualitative data, I pulled all of the individual responses and then popped those into AI to get general feeds, just to eliminate any. And so that's all in the first tab. And then the second tab is similar to what Jansen provided, just with all the additional responses that came in. There's a summary of kind of actionable items based on everything that the survey gathered. So I guess some highlights there. The space allocation, there was pretty clear priority for top rope, and like 55% of people put that as a first priority. Bouldering, 39% as a strong number 2. And then frequency. So people expect to use the gym pretty frequently. 55% of respondents said multiple times per week. And then peak demand is after school and evenings. And then a lot of people elected for, some sort of 24-hour keypad access. And so I guess the actionable item there is that any staff coverage that we would have should prioritize that like 3 to 10 weekday period window with 24-hour access, with us considering that as well. And then as far as pricing model, some sort of household family membership discount And then also Punch Pass was pretty, so some sort of membership deal and then some sort of Punch Pass. Also keeping in mind that, families with multiple people in the household, like what's some sort of break that we could provide there. But I mean, I thought in general, we had 250 people respond to the survey, which feels like a really good response. And I feel like we had very good, solid information that's very directional for us. It wasn't really scattered. It was very focused on, hey, here are the things that we really want. Lots of people wanted to use the climbing gym for community events and then youth and recreational climbing. There were also a lot of people who were interested in different types of clinics, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that was a high number.
Yeah. And as far as the breakdown, like composition of respondents, high percentage of avid people who self-identified as avid climbers, probably split between avid climbers and casual climbers. And then there were, 37% of people also noted that they have a child who climbs. So we have, parents and climbers who are responding who could be the same person.
And grandparents and.
And grandparents. So, I think the guidance from the survey is pretty clear, which is really helpful. And then as far as the open-ended survey responses, we had two big open-ended questions. What's something that you've experienced in a climbing facility that you'd love to see in a future facility? And I had AI break these into themes. So route setting, quality, and frequency was the single most repeated theme in the open-ended responses for this particular question. Access and hours. People want to be able to use the facility. And I think especially if it's, a community rec facility, becomes really important. Training infrastructure, heavy demand for training boards, but that's not the priority of the gym, but people do want those. Youth and family programming. People really want this to feel like a welcoming, inclusive community gathering space. And then lots of people ask for different amenities, sauna and showers. I think we're limited to what we have. But
I was like reading that, and I was like, I have seen those and they are nice. I did not put that in the survey. Cute.
Oh.
Why not ask for the moon?
Let's see. So those were the biggest themes of, I think, the most responses. And then we had a question about what is your single must-have in a new facility. And then these were ranked by frequency. So adjustable training boards, 24-hour access, youth and after-school programming, auto belays, and then consistent quality route setting. So there's some consistency, in these open-ended responses. And then I guess we had one other open-ended question. Is there anything else you would like the advisory committee to know? And I thought this was very nice. There was an overwhelming expression of gratitude and support, that we're doing this and that the rec board is considering this at this time. And then just how do we move forward in a way that we have governance that feels like open communication and there's people working together to the benefit of the community. Route setting again, inclusion. People really want this to feel like a community space. And that's really it.
A multitude of people who offered to help.
Yes, absolutely.
Additionally, a friend of mine, we had done some research, and so I have some research gathered from what other gyms are charging and how they lay that out and whether they offer outside coaching and things like that. So I'm happy to submit this via email.
So,
Or if we have a folder somewhere.
The findings for insurance, it sounds like there's a clear ringer for insurance. It's called the Monument Sports Group. They they insure the Edge Climbing Gym, and they're the only insurance group recommended by the Climbers Wall Association. So to become actually a member of the climbing CWA, the Climbing Wall Association, you have to be insured by the Monument Sports Group, and they're actually they charge on gross revenue, which is very good for a small gym. A mid-sized gym like the Edge Climbing Gym, it's also gross, charge on gross revenue, and the Edge says they end up paying between 6,000 and 7,000 a year.
How do they calculate that when you're a startup? Any idea, Sven?
What's that?
I say, how do they calculate gross revenue when you're just a startup? How do they base it for startups?
Oh, I don't know. They
Oh, okay.
so we could estimate gross revenue based on any numbers that we had for the Teton Rock Gym, but yeah, if we're a startup, we'd have to ask them. I sent contact information, and maybe we can add it in meeting minutes of the rep that the Edge Climbing Gym uses for obtaining the insurance.
Is the Edge Climbing Gym run by a government entity or is it private?
It's just private.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's something we need to consider too, is that there's two entirely different, I don't know, guidelines from a government-run perspective versus a nonprofit, private-owned. And talking to our insurance, they want us to discuss it with our attorney. I also talked with Jackson on what they require just of their staffing, and all their staffing has got 3 levels of certification for them to even be staffed on the rock climbing area. Certifications run $150 to $300 per cert, depending on how many staff we're gonna have. That could increase as well. And the coverage is different. I was waiting to hear back from Jackson to see kind of roughly what their coverage looks like and what their insurance is. I haven't heard back from their county clerk yet.
Who's the certification through?
His company he was just talking to,
It's through the climate.
Mhm. That's who I got that from, but there's a bunch of different certification people that'll certify, but I needed a price.
Sure.
And that's what I was looking for.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
guess
and
if
go ahead, John.
I was going to say, I guess if the next kind of question is how do we take what we've learned here and help it support the design? I mean, it sounds like the types of experiences are there, pretty well defined. The be interested to understand how, to work in the kind of open community openness kind of discussion that was brought up multiple times there too. How do you bring that into the design? Is that a structural thing, or is that just a procedural thing to make sure we're kind of open to everyone and such like that? I'm not quite sure how to interpret that myself.
I mean, there were
Yeah.
ideas of like having couches and things, or like facilitating hanging out.
And I think you bring up a good point. I think that there are things that we could consider in the structure that make it feel open and welcoming. But I think most of it will be procedural. It'll be
Yeah.
like, what does the programming look like? How does the staff interact with the guests that are coming into the facility? How do people, and it's harder to measure, but how do people feel when they come in? Like, do they feel like this is for them? So that's something I think we'll consider, but there are structural elements that we could probably consider to help facilitate that.
Nice.
Jansen, how, you've had the most interaction with the actual wall, companies.
Yes.
How do the survey results help you with those types of quotes?
So there are a few caveats that we have to look at. Number one is limited height in the building.
Yeah,
We're gonna get exact measurements today, but 30 feet max in between the trusses. The last gym didn't really make very good use of that space for beginner intermediate climbers. And so I've given the wall builders the preliminary results, which are basically the finalized results look at how we can maximize that. That's one. The other is that a lot of people didn't list the training boards as their priority. And I think most people, when they think of a training board, they think of it as for advanced lead climbers only. But the new ones with them being adjustable from 0 to 70 degrees, they're very approachable for beginner climbers. And could be used quite effectively, I think, with recreational, with competitive climbers, like the whole gamut.
Especially tread walls.
Especially tread wall, yeah.
I've seen my grandkids use them, and you can, if you're an expert climber, you can use it as well.
Sure. And so
Better than a moon board.
well, with the new light up boards, though, like set kilter board to 0 degrees, and there's 5,000 V0 one problems available on that. And kids they love it because it lights up and things. So, my takeaway from that is that a lot of people did ask for those. They may not have made it their number one priority, but they should be considered, especially given the portability of them as well. So if we have to move out in 5 years, they're easily tear them down, move them to a new facility. So those are kind of the two things that I think the survey results are they touch on, but they could sort of be looked at from another aspect.
and I think that if we look at the open-ended responses, the boards, people brought them up because we forced people to rank. I think people were like, gosh, do I rank a board over bouldering? That was tough. But I think in the open-ended responses, we do see that boards are important to people. So I think we could make the case for including those.
So the draft floor plan I sent over to everyone it features the main rope climbing structure with 9 belay stations on it, which I think for the space it could probably be expanded a little bit larger. There's some considerations for the distance the padding has to be from the base of the wall, and also allow for ADA access in between the pads, things like that. So again, we're going to get precise measurements of the facility today, and I'll be able to shoot those over to the wall manufacturers for some revised plans.
Who are you talking to?
Talking to Walltopia, talking to EP, and discussion, which I think this is the most promising one, is Maverick Climbing.
Huh.
He came as a recommendation from Kilter, because I've been working with Kilter also. And if we go with them, Kilter will throw in basically a free Kilter board and a bolt set for your gym.
Oh, nice.
So, and they are all able to work within our budget. I think it's pretty good. So,
Who are you working with at EP?
Joanne.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a friend. So
Okay. Worked with her and their designer, and I got down. I mean, he was able to just manipulate everything on the bylaws.
oh, good.
It was great. So
Send her a text. How to cut it better deal.
Jansen, on the wall construction side, are there different design standards for lead versus top rope, or is it sort of if you have any of these companies build a 30-foot tall wall, you can accommodate both just as easily?
as far as I know, yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any that it's all built pretty beefy,
Right.
I'm sure it's probably another line item to add, fix quick draws. Is all. So
Right. Okay, but it doesn't really move the needle as far as total construction costs. That makes sense.
no, and another thing is that Walltopia, I talked to them about their quantum belay board. So that's a 30-foot tall LED board with 3 auto belays or typical top rope lays at the top. And that's a really interesting component here because it alleviates the need for route setting completely because they're all crowdsourced routes. And the whole 3 people can climb at the same time. The top half of it is adjustable from 15 to 30 degrees.
Awesome.
And I asked them, they only have one in the world right now, and I asked their sales rep if they could build an additional 2 sides to it. So it would basically be our tower structure, with one side being the steep 30-foot, and then the 2 other sides being top rope, the slabs, whatever, that would be a static wall. So they're looking at that for me. And then Maverick Climbing, they've been building LED walls too. It's not Walltopia wall, but it's the same thing. He's like, we provide, put an iPad at the base, people can plug in their routes. And
I like that there's a device there too.
Cool.
I think that's always like a problem. Like, I love that idea.
And so given one of those walls and 2 training boards, that reduces the route setting burden considerably.
Yeah. Oh, that's
We basically have the kids wall and then the other boulder that would be, and then the other sides of the lead wall. It's sort of like the 3 main climbing structures would be LED walls.
Wow.
So
that's pretty top of the line.
I mean, that's the other thing is like all of these things, like they don't have any of this stuff in Jackson. I mean, stuff that's
This is different. It's a
pretty
draw.
state-of-the-art facility in a small space, but it would bring people over to climb for sure.
And it would transfer well to a new building, which might then have built-in walls, but you could still have this.
Those would, yeah. EP told me that their walls are not really deconstructible. Walltopia said, yeah, you can move them, it's fine. And Maverick Climbing said we could move them. So I'm not sure what EP is doing. They just said that it's not it's not cost effective. Like they've had people try to do it and it just makes sense to tear them down.
That draft flow plan that you sent, who put that one together?
EP.
EP did, okay.
And these are based off of sort of not very accurate measurements of the facility.
Okay.
So an LED wall, is that basically it lights up the route you're supposed to follow? Is that how that works, or?
It does. It's a standardized wall. So no matter which one you go to anywhere in the world, the hold sets are the same, the angles are the same, and it's controllable with through an iPad or a smartphone.
So there's essentially a hold on every single T-nut, and the LED lights allow not only you to set a route, you could personally set a route and then submit it as a suggestion, and then that could become a route that's on the wall. And so since it's crowdsourced, there can be thousands of route variations on one spray wall.
Cool.
It's going to be like Maple.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what to grab there.
Yeah.
Well, it lights up for you.
Yeah.
No brainer.
I know. Then you have to have the discipline not to go.
Right. That's therein lies.
Yeah.
There and less. As long as it doesn't get so crowded that it's just like.
I think I had a good meeting with Jared Wells from Maverick Climbing. He's got 30 years of experience and a pretty solid portfolio of wall building, and he's the partner with Kilter. So I think we get a pretty good deal, and they're based out of Boulder versus EP is a French company. I mean, they have their United States branch, and Walltopia is like from Bulgaria. Both of them have much longer lead times on build out. Walltopia said 8 to 10 months once contract signed. So we would be looking, I think, ideally at perhaps phasing it in and putting in the adjustable training boards and fitness equipment, perhaps, and opening doors sooner to like give people a place to climb and build the walls when they can be built.
If you said Mavericks could be deconstructed too, right? It was EPs that aren't, okay.
So as far as gaps on the expense front, I mean, it sounds like Jansen's got a great start on the wall stuff. It seems like the fitness side is still a question mark as far as what that would cost. It's also probably the easiest to understand. Does that seem like the case? None of us have started any work on that, have we?
There's also the rental equipment for, the shoes and harnesses.
Right. As far as the right capital, like the upfront cost. So the rental
Yeah.
fleet, shoes, harnesses, um, fitness equipment.
Um, yeah, we'll have exact measurements today, but it'll help inform how big the fitness areas should be.
Is there anything from the old gym that would be worth getting or having?
Yeah, lots of stuff. Like
Yeah.
all the holds,
Yeah,
maybe the flooring. A lot of it was custom designed to fit in that space, but so I think some of it could be repurposed.
okay. The weight equipment, I assume, would be,
The boom board, if it hadn't been sold, the tread wall,
yeah,
if it wasn't sold.
Yeah, probably the fitness equipment, I would
yeah,
think. Has anyone, you were gonna try and talk to Patrick and also Ty?
Yeah.
Any luck?
I haven't even tried because I'm out of,
Yeah.
I've been in and out of town. I
Sure.
gotta be here for more than from the city
Right. I
tomorrow,
also
so
have not reached Patrick, no.
Yeah.
But I
I'll
will
use this.
I will reach out to him.
Dirk is also willing, so I don't know if both
Yeah,
need to.
I'll hit him up after the meeting too.
Okay. And then I guess, I mean, this is sort of maybe unstated, assumed, but I just wanted to vocalize this. It seems clear, given the space and the budget, that like showers and saunas and the like would be lovely, but we basically consume the entire budget just on those, and so those seems like
Yeah.
something we can clearly um, set to the side as not a cost effective priority.
Yeah.
Also, I think the constraint of timeline in the space, that's a hard thing to invest in for a short period of time as well.
Yeah.
Potentially, that'd be less movable.
That's for the thing.
Yeah.
On the floor plan, I indicated 24 by 14 adjustable board. That is still a possibility. I'm getting quotes to build a static wall there instead of that board. I think it would be more desirable to the general climbing population to have just a built wall, like, it would look like the downstairs bouldering in Jackson, probably. And then the kids' wall would sort of follow the pitch of the roof, where on the left side of it, it says bouldering, and it would go up to 24 feet or so for some top ropes for auto belays. So I guess any comments on what, I should go back to the manufacturers with?
What did you say, Maverick Climbings? I mean, they're local, they're a little bit closer. You said their lead time was probably, a lot less. Do you know?
4 months.
4 months, okay.
Yeah, and he'll come up here and personally survey the space and do, parallel engineering drawings and,
Yeah,
I like that he called me immediately after I talked to the rep from Kilter.
yeah.
Everyone else is taking a little bit of time to get back to me.
Yeah, Joanne says they're getting a lot of community requests right now. I texted her.
Oh, really?
They're getting a lot of community requests right now.
Yeah, I believe it. They're busy, but an advantage with them, is that they built the wall in Jackson. They also built boulders over there. They're going to build the Victor Rock Park, so
Oh,
when they come to do maintenance every year in the Jackson boulders or the gym,
Yeah,
it's all part of the same family. You know.
Consider.
yeah.
yeah, let me know if you need help with that.
Okay. And we could piecemeal it together, like we buy the adjustable boards and frames from Kilter and the flooring. We do the static walls with EP or somebody else. With Maverick, with all of them, it could be they deliver everything. Let's have to see what the bids come back looking like. Should I be looking about or talking to them about a mezzanine above the fitness area? TRG had plans to do that like 5 or 6 years ago.
Like with more additional space.
Like move the workout area upstairs or.
Perhaps, or
Like
additional.
above bouldering or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot more space. It's a
Yeah.
big,
I think it's worth seeing if it's
by what it
cost
costs,
effective.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that
I'd be interested in
could
what
be
it
neat.
costs.
So,
Yeah, I guess, right. My intuition would be there if it was possible to like relatively easily get just a or sort of order of magnitude quote, but um, just intuitively with the 5 year time horizon and my off the cuff I thought is that I just wonder both if it would fit the budget and then the sort of like short lifespan of it. I mean, if it would be amazing to have that extra square footage if it looked like, but if we could quickly get just a ballpark estimate to see if it's even feasible with the financial constraints we have.
good.
Is that a question, Jensen, of like talking to a steel building or like that's
Like a
type of
carpenter in here willing to offer his help, like, is that like a second floor kind of?
Yeah,
Custom home builder offering carpentry labor.
Max. Max.
Right.
He doesn't have time.
Yeah, there's that, there's
Building
that.
this house right now, trust me. Sure, he'd love to help, but
Because I guess
it would
this
be,
is not something that integrates even with the steel frame. This would just be a freestanding, like stick frame thing, right? Just
Right.
visualizing.
I wonder
Yeah,
if
I guess so. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I wonder, with Maverick being close by, them being really responsive, I wonder if it's worth seeing if they could provide like a comprehensive, quote, like here's what, an entire space, could look like, and
Yep.
that could be just valuable, just to see if we would have to pick and choose, or if they could come down at all for certain things, but that seems like a good next step.
Okay.
Ty, what were you gonna say?
I was just um, looking forward to like other tasks we can line people out with. It seems like the sort of getting estimates on the shoe and harness rental fleet is kind of feels a bit like a discrete item. And then
Like,
the fitness equipment, like once we sort of have an updated sort of floor plan scale. Um,
shoes and harnesses, would Gregory's and lockers be kind of a line item as well?
Right.
Ropes.
Ropes.
right. I guess we
Blades.
could probably wrap all that stuff together. Yeah. Yeah. Ropes, belay
I could
devices.
get cost estimates on shoes, harnesses,
Jackson has,
You know,
these red chili, their shoes and their Elroy harnesses.
Okay.
Peter Metcalf, who is the founder of BD, has a house here in Driggs. He's a good friend, and I should ask him about getting the quote from BD. Maybe he could squeeze something additional out of him. I'll talk to him.
Okay. Thank you.
We'd love a sponsor for our competitive kids climbing team.
That's not a bad idea. And some of these we're talking to them, if they want to put their name somewhere, we could probably maybe think of something like that too, if they give us some special discounts if we're doing something interesting.
Greaves, triple lockers, ropes.
And then Jansen, it seems like padding's on your radar, right? And the various companies. I mean, a lot of that's really dependent upon the exact layout of the walls, but that's something that you'll have some solid ballpark estimates on as well, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
And I'll
because that's a
provide for-
pretty significant expense as well, from what I understand.
It is, and the design of the wall informs how much padding you need. They'll have to be designed around the fall zones and ADA access and things like that. So
I could create, Ty, if this would be helpful, like a spreadsheet that we start adding to, like as we get quotes back with all the different line items. That we could then adjust, into like a sort of budget, just to make sure that we're falling, but then everyone can just populate that.
Great.
Right. And then, I mean, the other sort of big lift here to me is also like building out the operational sort of business plan, I guess, is a decent way to describe it, but just, yeah, because it's not exactly a startup cost, but the committee's been tasked with making this ideally revenue neutral, but knowing that that there may be a bridge to that. So, I mean, I would be happy to take the lead on that piece, kind of like building the operational business plan. I know the folks over at Jackson will be a great resource for that, and but I can start building out that framework and then try to pull a draft of that together pretty fast, and then we can all build on that.
Just one thought is looking at design. Somebody at some point get Nate Carey to take a look at it and see if he has any concerns or things that might need to be incorporated in it for other folks.
yeah, you bet.
You guys started to try to identify staffing yet? Like who's going to run this? Who's going to actually manage it day to day? Because that probably has an effect on your insurance, for sure. Depending on how
The hire's
experienced they
gonna
are.
have to go through us, or we're gonna have to contract out. So we don't know what that looks like because I'm the only full-time staff in the district. So we'll have to talk to our bookkeeper and look at what our policies and things look like for staff.
Yeah.
And then if we have somebody that's full-time managing, we gotta look at what that's gonna look like for benefits, retirement.
Yeah.
So
And like I said, I think that has an impact on
it
insurance.
does.
Would a list of names be helpful if we?
No, we're gonna have to we have to build it from the ground up, so it would be job description, it would have to go
Yeah,
through how
start
much
there.
we're allowed to pay them. So when I worked for the city of Sandpoint, we had to base our hourly wage off of the equal to within our county. So that hourly rate was based off of what the previous or a neighboring government entity was using, so.
Still go to Jackson.
No, it has to be Idaho based.
Yeah,
So-
that's too bad.
So like our lifeguards had to be based off of a pool lifeguard, but it was open water lifeguarding, so they weren't getting paid what they needed to be getting paid because the water's different and what they're looking to do, so. those are things that need to be taken into consideration with the hiring. It just can't be, here's an application, give us your resume, we're
Right.
hiring.
Yeah. Ty, as you're starting to like make notes about that operational plan, I wonder if like off to the side, you consider, and I'm happy to help with this too. Like what would a job description start to look like based on the operational needs of the facility? And then, I don't know, we're using the operation and the survey to inform what type of person we would need to hire and what the responsibilities would be.
Yeah, that sounds great. And then, yeah, Katie, for sure, just keep us posted as whatever you learn about the various operational constraints. I mean, I think the beauty of sort of building out this business plan, whatever spreadsheet style, is that as we get more information and we bracket in on, yeah, exactly who's going to operate and manage, we can just kind of plug that new information in and make that tighter and tighter.
Yeah, I think my preference would definitely be it to be a rec employee. I think there's advantages to that from both an operational and obtaining good long-term employment. So that'd be kind of my preference. We'll have to see how that works out, but yep.
I just got a question about funding. So how is this getting paid for
Out of the budget that we have.
for the rec district? And is that sufficient, or do you need like a friends of to raise money from the community, for example?
So we have a friends of for the rec district.
Sports and wellness, friends of
Yes,
sports and
friends of sports
wellness.
as well.
Okay.
And so it is set up. I'm on the board for that. It's kind of, we're kind of just sitting and waiting for the rec district to have needs. But
Presumably this would be one of them, because I'm guessing that the
Yeah.
community would go above and beyond what the rec district is willing to do in terms of paying for this.
yeah, so if it comes to that, then there is a structure set up.
And
Okay,
we can up a fund to the community foundation for
Yeah,
a temporary thing, something for this. So I think it's a matter of like what Jansen gets back, what, if we can accommodate.
well,
We have $350,000.
right, and that might head off some of the complaints that you get from the community about, oh, my taxes are going for a climbing gym, what the hell, I'll never use it. If you say, well, but significant amount or some amount of it is being paid for by the climbing community itself through private donations, whether you need the money or not, frankly, that's a way to.
It does, that did come up in the survey as a sticky point that should be addressed.
That's a way to argue against, we're paying for it ourselves too, guys. So
Right, there's
this is not all
public
This is
support.
not all coming from our tax dollars. I think that, again, regardless of whether you need the money or not.
There's some optics.
And if the structure's there to do it, why not? Give a naming opportunity for the kilter board. Lots of ways to do this.
Lifetime and need something.
But there are people that would do some stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. No reason we're not a climbing center.
Yeah, right.
So you think you'll have those estimates back?
Yeah, pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
They want to have the exact measurements.
Right, so that's today. Do we feel we probably need to have another meeting before
the
next meeting?
Well, last time we had agreed, we were having like a standing monthly meeting and then we could set up special meetings. So our next standing monthly meeting.
Oh, this is the special.
This is a special, would have been the 24th. That's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So, and then it's 2 weeks after that. That
Is the meeting.
is the meeting. So I guess the question is, do we think we need one next week? Or is the 24th good? And then maybe we have one.
Should we see how
We can stay in touch like with email.
Jansen gets numbers back? Because seems like there'd be a good debrief after that.
Yeah, and we can start populating this spreadsheet with other quotes that people get back, on harnesses and shoes and all of that. Could we just plan on the 24th? Does that work for you, Ty? Just
Yeah,
plan on the 24th.
absolutely. Yeah, and then right, if we have a lot more information in the next yeah, in the next few days, then yeah, maybe we could have another special meeting in the interim.
Yeah, we just need 24 hours notice for a special meeting, so if we decide to have one at the last minute, that'd be fine.
All right. So yeah, I mean, we've had significant discussion of the survey results, design status. We've hit on all the agenda items we had today. Is there anything else anyone wants to would like to get thrown out there? As far as like marching orders, I'm going to start working on the business plan. Sven's going to work on quotes on the sort of gym soft good infrastructure, or yeah, initial fleet, shoes, harnesses, ropes, belay devices. Yeah, Jansen's leading the charge on quotes on wall construction. Um, and Chrissy, you're putting together a spreadsheet that's going to have like a sort of a master startup capital cost spreadsheet. Am I recalling that correctly? That we can start plugging
Yeah,
this into?
I can do that and circulate it so that we can start populating it. That's no problem.
Is there any supporting evidence or anything you need, Ty, for the business plan? Like from other organizations or?
Well, I'm enough to just sit down with this and start plugging away and see. Right, I think, yeah, I think, um, yeah, maybe I'll have some tasks that I can get some help on as I start drafting that. Off the top of my head, um, until I spend some time with it, I don't know anything specific.
Yeah, I'll share this information that is about like other gyms membership fees and
Yeah, that kind of stuff would be super
so
useful,
that I
right?
think will be helpful.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's got some other questions and things. So I think that'll be helpful for what you've got going, but let me know if I can help in any other way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I guess one other thing on that front, Jansen, you mentioned the ongoing annual sort of maintenance by Entrepreneur and stuff. Yeah, if you come across any information about that and that would inform a sort of ongoing operations budget, just let me know. Um, Hopefully, the first few years it's relatively light, and then yeah, but something that needs to be planned for. All right.
And Ty, do you
Anything
want
else?
to, yeah, Ty, you want to look at what 24-hour access looks like with insurance?
Right. Yeah, that's
Part of the
that's going to
business
be a,
plan.
a a piece of it for sure. Right. Yeah. I can look into that with the yeah information that Sven has. Because I seem to have some vague recollection. Yeah, that there was only one insurance company, and hopefully, presumably, maybe it's even the same one that Sven talked about being integrated with the CWA. But yeah, I think that narrows. I mean, I think that, yeah, that's a. I think we can quickly figure out what the options are there because it's so few companies involved. I've been to other 24-hour gyms in California and stuff too, so there's definitely some other um, places doing it.
John,
Yes.
can you please talk to our attorney on all of this to make sure, because there's no other like Idaho government entity that has a rock climbing gym according to ICRIM, and he's suggesting we discuss these issues of possible liabilities and things with our attorney since this is a government business.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, I'll talk with Jeff on it.
It might be good just to ask him the same questions that we're talking about in this meeting regarding a business plan and what that could look like. I'm sure he'll be able to find it. If Idaho doesn't have one, he'll probably find it somewhere. That could be
Yeah.
comparative.
Yeah, we can look that up. Yep.
And with the climbing survey results, Ty, there was a few people that reached out about, TRG Summer Camp Technical Expert offering to help relaunch camps, a nonprofit board veteran offering governance help. Those two might be helpful to talk to as you're forming the business plan.
I can help with that, some of that too.
I think Dirk is one of those.
Oh, sweet.
I'm one of those.
Awesome.
Excellent. All right. Well, if nobody has anything else to add here, then I suggest we adjourn and get rolling on this stuff.
I can second.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Ty.
Okay, thanks, Jack.
Thanks, guys.
But
Bye.